couple things with the 1300. It turns tighter. Full lock is tighter. There's no question. It's further. I used to roll into full lock on the 1250 way earlier. This is later, which tells me I'm just turning further. I feel more over the bike. I feel like the front end drives harder. The front end feels like it's driving harder into the ground. I wouldn't say I'm as smooth on this yet. Because all the inputs, just my body position's in a little bit different place. The rear brake pressure is totally different. The friction zone feels bigger. So all that makes for a totally different feeling bike when I start pushing it. So I've been doing figure eights for 4 minutes, and I have 26 more minutes of this to go. Like watching paint dry. But man, these turns feel tighter. So they feel a little slower, but I'm not eating up so much real estate. Kind of interesting. A little late on my head turns. Not doing much in the way of using my feet right now. So all my little tricks, I'm kind of not really employing all of them because I'm trying to concentrate more on driving the front into the ground. Because everything changes with this lock coming in later. My timing is off. Things are not happening at the same frequency. So I'm definitely off. The amount of brake force is different. Body position is different. Friction zone is different. Everything's a little different. I'm just not really comfortable. I gotta think a lot more about every little thing I'm doing. But he's holding up just fine. a sloppy brake and sloppy clutch. Head and eyes are late. My rolling is not smooth on the uphill. That was a little better. I'm going to stop at 10 minutes for a minute. So rear brake input, a little different. This one's more sensitive, so I got to be careful because I'm locking it up. And as I said before, I don't know if that's just because the rear brake's actually more sensitive or the back end is lighter because there's more load on the front. Feels like it has more load on the front. And if I come in at the same amount of speed and then just go into full lock, sometimes I notice I'm pushing the front. I can feel it skipping. It didn't do it much here. The answer key to that is ride a little heavier rear brake, and it kind of plants the front a bit. So I'm trying to hold a little more rear brake to plant the front, and that works. But again, as I said, the rear brake, I got to be careful because it starts to lose traction. And so it's that weird balance, and I don't really have that. I got to do this like ad nauseum, and I just don't have the feel. Again, it's coming into full lock a little later, because think about it, if my range of motion is greater, where I was coming into lock here, that was, say, right about the halfway point of the apex of the turn. Now I notice I'm dropping into full lock a little later. If I try and force the lock at the apex where I was before, that means I'm turning further earlier, and that tends to want the bike that makes the bike either want to stand up or push. And I think that's why at the motor ride days in Germany, I was complaining the bike kept wanting to stand itself up, and I think it's because I was trying to look for the same timing in the full lock movement within the turning movement. So I wanted to keep hitting that spot. Is here's where I go full lock, and now I'm doing it here. And if I try to do it here, I'm kind of forcing it, and it's standing the bike up. So I'm not having that problem now, but what's happening is my full lock movement is later, which is okay. I just have to get used to it. That's a whole other thing. My body position's different. That's a whole other thing. I find that, and maybe again, it's because I have more lock-to-lock range of motion. I don't need to drop the bike so far. So my side-to-side movement is not as great. I feel like I'm still counterbalancing a decent amount, but I'm not as crazy as I was on the 1250, which is good in some ways. But it's also changing my technique. I notice I'm not using as much feet with this bike, at least not right now. And we'll see if that doesn't change. It just feels like it moves around snappier. So maybe at some point I'll get acclimated to the speed with which it throws itself around, and then I'll want to ramp it up again from there, and that will require more feet, and I'm just not at that pace yet. So I don't know. But all things being equal, it is lighter underneath you, it does turn tighter underneath you, it is easier to maneuver underneath you, the friction zone is greater, you have a lot more friction zone. This bike's in road mode, so it's not as snappy as my 1250, it's faster, the overall power is more, but off throttle, the mapping is a little mellower, which I think can be good. In Germany, my mapping was snappy as it'll be, and as soon as I came out of corners, I could literally just roll the throttle on and drift the rear end. I can feel the back end a little bit here and there, but not much. So the answer key might be keeping it in road mode in motor competitions because it's got more power now. We'll have to see. In a couple weeks, I'll have one with a dynamic package in it, and then I can kind of play around with that. Anyways, more figure eights, more figure eights. This for me is the easiest way you're going to figure out what the bike does. It's mirrored both directions. This isn't a super tight figure eight, but it's enough for me to get the clutch all the way out, apply some power, have to come in on the brakes, find the friction zone, drop the bike in, execute a full lock turning movement, and go back the other way. So you're kind of incorporating everything as far as your process goes. I can go bigger, I can go smaller with my figure eights, but this is, for me, a size that's comfortable enough to kind of reset. So if I drop in and something goes south, I can sort of unscrew myself, get my mind right on my way to the next one, and then fix it, which is what I like. If it's really, really tight or it's really, really fast, I'm just kind of like, running around with, my hair on fire, and it's a lot. This is perfect for me to keep having, as I say, laboratory experiment. What's going on with the bike? Fix it, reset, drop into the next one. Fix it, reset, drop into the next one. It's an interesting journey. Strange. I didn't realize how subtle my process would be sort of moved around, right? These little teeny changes. The more I'm riding this, I'm like, I don't do this as much, or I do that more. The bike does this a little different. So we'll see what happens long term, but great bike. Just wanted to have you come with me while I'm doing some practice on this thing to get acclimated and see my frustration, my confusion, my struggle a bit as I get this thing unpacked. All right, have a great day.